6:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Lal Malavarachi and read by Lavani Vijayatunga. First, we take a look at the headlines. The draft 22nd Amendment to the Constitution will be debated in the Parliament on Thursday and Friday. Minister of Power and Energy says that the third coal power plant in Uraichole has been fixed and connected to the national grid. Prices of petrol have been reduced. The Agriculture Ministry says sufficient stock of fertilizer for the Maha season ordered. It has been stressed that there is no need to impose extended power interruptions until January next year. In news overseas, Russian troops forced out of Ukraine's eastern town of Lehman. And in sports news, the Sri Lankan team leaves for Australia today for the T20 World Cup. Those were the headlines, and now we move on to the details of the local news. The draft 22nd Amendment to the Constitution will be debated in Parliament on Thursday and Friday. The Committee on Parliamentary Business has set aside the 2 dates for the debate of the draft 22nd Constitutional Amendment Bill. Parliament is scheduled to convene from tomorrow to Friday, the October 7th. The amendment bill was recently cleared by the Supreme Court for approval with a two-third majority subject to a few changes. The Minister of Power and Energy, Kanchana Wijesekara, said that the third coal power plant in Uraichole has been fixed and connected to the national grid. He said the power plant Unit 1 and 3 are operating at full capacity. The Unit 1 of the power plant, which is back in operation after it was shut down for maintenance, he said. The power plant Unit 2 is expected to be completed in mid-October, the minister further added. Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijesekara says that the Petroleum Corporation will reduce the prices of 92 and 95 octane petrol with effect from last midnight. Accordingly, the price of 92 octane will be slashed by 40 rupees and 95 octane by 30 rupees. Therefore, the new price of 92 octane would be 410 rupees and 95 octane would be 510 rupees. The Petroleum Corporation says that there is no price changes in other types of fuel. This is the news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. And we continue with more local news. The Minister of Agriculture, Mahinda Amaravira, says that sufficient stocks of fertilizer have been ordered to meet the requirement of the Maha season, and these fertilizer stocks will be released to the farmers for the cultivation shortly. The minister said this during a discussion held recently at the Presidential Secretariat on the supply of fertilizer to meet the requirements of the Maha season. Accordingly, the minister said that farmers could start the Maha season cultivation without any doubt. The minister stated that the stock of urea fertilizer has been sent to the districts of the northern province, including Jaffna and Kilinochchi. Paddy farmers will be issued a 50 kilogram fertilizer bundle for 10,000 rupees. Meanwhile, urea fertilizer has been distributed to 5 districts that are cultivating maize. Additional Secretary to the Ministry of Education, Mahinda Yapa, says that measures have been taken to expedite the program to provide a midday meal for school children. More attention has been focused on schools that have reported the lack of nutritional food for children in those schools. An investigation has been conducted into this matter. And to conclude the local news, the headlines once again. The draft 22nd Amendment to the Constitution will be debated in the Parliament on Thursday and Friday. The Minister of Power and Energy says that the third coal power plant in Uraichole has been fixed and connected to the national grid. Prices of petrol have been reduced. The Agriculture Minister says that sufficient stocks of fertilizer for the Maha season ordered. It has been stressed that there is no need to impose extended power interruptions until January next year. And that was the local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The main news story for this morning, the chairman of the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka says that there is no need to impose extended power interruptions until January next year. Addressing an event, Mr. Janaka Ratnaka said that the 2 units at the Lakwije power plant in Uraichole, which suffered a breakdown recently, are expected to be reconnected to the national grid over the next 2 weeks. Meanwhile, Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijesekara mentioned that an advance payment was made for coal consignment procured for electricity generation purpose. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Moving on to Washlight, a tree planting program is underway to plant trees on both sides of many roads. The aim of this move is to safeguard the environment. The government has taken measures to plant 2 million tree saplings. This program will be initiated under the 100,000 kilometer road development program. That came to you in Washlight, and now let's move on to the headlines of the world news. Russian troops forced out of Ukraine's eastern town of Lyman. Palestinian death toll in West Bank hits 100 this year. Kabul blast kills teenagers sitting for the practice exam. Those are the headlines, and now move on to the details of the world news. Russia has withdrawn its troops on the strategic Ukrainian town of Lyman in a move seen as a significant setback for its campaign in the east. The retreat came amid fears of thousands of soldiers would be encircled in the town, Russia's defense ministry said. Capturing Lyman is one of strategic significance for Ukraine. The town had been used as a logistic hub by Russia and could give Ukrainian troops access to more territory in the Donetsk and Luhansk areas. At least 100 Palestinians have been killed in the occupied West Bank and East Jerusalem this year amid a massive increase in the Israeli military raids, according to figures compiled by the BBC. The number was reached as an 18-year-old man was shot dead in East Jerusalem on Saturday after a week which saw Israeli forces reportedly firing an anti-tank missile at a house in Jenin that killed a wanted gunman and 3 others. It means this year is now on the course to become the deadliest for the Palestinians in the West Bank since the year 2015. The vast majority was shot dead by Israeli security forces and several by armed Israeli civilians. A suicide attack at a tuition center in the Afghan capital of Kabul has killed at least 35 people, most of them female students, the United Nations says. More than 80 others were wounded in Friday's attack at Kaj Education Center in the Dashit-e-Barshi area. Students had been sitting for a practice university exam when the bomber struck. No group has yet claimed the attack. Many of those in the area are minority Hazaras who have often been targeted by Islamic State militants. And to conclude the world news, the headlines once again. Russian troops forced out of Ukraine's eastern town of Lyman. Palestinian death toll in the West Bank hits 100 this year. Kabul blast kills teenagers sitting for the practice exam. And now let's move on to the development news. Foreign Ministry relaunched e-channeling for people to get online appointment when they want to get the consular service, and Foreign Ministry Ali Sabri said this move will minimize corruption and inefficiency. The ministry launched the new service in collaboration with the state-run telecom provider Sri Lanka Telecom Mobitel, the mobile phone arm of the country's largest landline network. Sri Lanka will integrate the entire Sri Lankan embassies all over the world and digitize, Sabri told the reporters in Colombo at the launch. The digitalization will take the unnecessary power of discretion vested on people. One way of eliminating corruption and inefficiency is improving technology, he stated. And that was the development news.
Sports News is brought to you by...
With many values that bind us beyond the transaction, we are Sampath Bank. We present your future.
Moving on to sports news, the Sri Lankan team leaves for Australia today to take part in the T20 World Cup. After the Asian Cup glory, the team is brimming with confidence. After a camp in Kandy, the team is reaching Australia well in advance to work on the skills and plans specific to the conditions on offer. Leader of the Sri Lankan cricket team, Dasan Shanaka, says that the Sri Lankan team will face the T20 World Cup Championship cricket tournament in a well-planned manner. Decisive and correct decisions taken during the match will help to steer the team towards victory. The T20 tournament will be held in Australia from the 16th of this month to the 13th of November. That was the sports news, business news coming up.
The fastest way to earn the highest interest from NSB, now extended till the 30th of September just for you. Your short-term deposits receive an attractive interest rate of 20% in 3 months and 22% in 7 months. Visit a bank branch or a main postal office today. NSB, the only bank with 100% government guarantee.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
In business news, Sri Lanka's average coconut prices rose 1.9% to 58,516.87 rupees for 1,000 nuts at the auction held last on September 19th, while the price range also widened, the official data showed. The highest price was 68,000 rupees for 1,000 nuts, up from the previous week's 63,700 rupees, whilst the lowest was 40,000 rupees, down from last week's 51,500 rupees at the auction conducted by Sri Lanka's Coconut Development Authority. Exports of coconut-based products have risen by 7% in the period during January to August to $573 million from $537 million a year earlier, the data showed. That was the business news. Economic news follows.
Business News, sponsored by
The fastest way to earn the highest interest from NSB, now extended till the 30th of September just for you. Your short-term deposits receive an attractive interest rate of 20% in 3 months and 22% in 7 months. Visit a bank branch or a main postal office today. NSB, the only bank with 100% government guarantee.
Economic news, courtesy of
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
In economic news, Chairman of the Rubber Export Development Board, Suresh Dimel, said that an income of $1 million has been received from the export of rubber-related products for the first time in the history. He told the BBC that a clear growth of 15% from the apparel export has been reported this year, and a considerable income was gained from the export of technological goods manufactured in the country. An export growth from spices and gem and jewelry has also been reported. That was economic news. And the weather report to conclude.
LOLC Finance is taking the power of innovation to the next level, winning 5 golds at the Technovation Awards 2022, leading the digital revolution with cutting-edge interbanking digital payments. LOLC Finance claims the overall gold award, whilst also claiming an extraordinary victory in digital banking. LOLC Finance will continue to innovate with the next generation digitalization of financial services, delivering a superior customer experience.
And finally, the weather report. The Met Department says that showers will occur at times in the western and Sabaragamu provinces and in the Kandy, Nuwara Galle and Mathura districts, and heavy falls about 75 millimeters can occur at some places. Several spells of showers will occur in the northwestern province and in the Hambantota district. Showers or thunder showers will occur at a few places in the Uva province and in the Ampara district during the evening or night. Strong winds about 55 km per hour can be expected at times over the western slopes of the Central Hills, northern, north central and southern provinces and in the Trincomalee district. That was the weather report, and before we conclude this bulletin of news, let's get back to the headlines once again. The draft 22nd Amendment to the Constitution will be debated in the Parliament on Thursday and Friday. The Minister of Power and Energy says that the third coal power plant in Chole has been fixed and connected to the national grid. Prices of petrol have been reduced. The Agriculture Minister says sufficient stocks of fertilizer for the Maha season ordered. It has been stressed that there is no need to impose extended power interruptions until January next year. In news overseas, Russian troops forced out of Ukraine's eastern town of Leman. And in sports news, Sri Lankan team leaves for Australia today for the T20 World Cup. And with that, we conclude this bulletin of news. Now it's back to your regular Sunday morning host, my good friend Shantima, to brighten up your day.